Welcome back, my rogues. Today's question is step-siblings. How do you feel about the fact that you're heavily fetishized in porn? And in what ways has it affected your life? Hope you enjoy, and check me out on Instagram. My stepsister ironically says, "What are you doing, stepbro?" To piss me off. Edit. She has now seen this post and is not happy with me. Also, I am not commenting on whether my stepsister is hot. It has had no effect on my life except that now I'll greet my stepbrother with, "What are you doing, step bro?" and we'll both get a good chuckle out of it. Edit. Him also a dude. I had a co-worker that dated his stepsister. They were already dating when their parents met and then started dating. There was a standoff about which couple needed to stop dating and the parents won. They eventually got married and now he will tell people he slept with his stepsister. It's had no impact on my life, as my stepbrother HASNT asked to sleep with me, fortunately. Friends of mine from when I was in high school started dating. They were together for like a year before her dad and his mum started dating. Thankfully for them, they were both adults by that time. My friends are still together and have a house together now. Their parents broke up. My parent adopted a dog and it tries to hump my leg, if that counts. I went to school with a guy and a girl who were step-siblings and everyone knew they were sleeping together. It was all anyone could talk about when she came up pregnant, and it was even more awkward when the baby wasn't her stepbrothers. I know some people who were dating in high school, then their parents started dating, then they lived together. Awkward. Both of my step-siblings are the same sex as me and I'm not gay. Also, I have only ever met them twice. Maybe 3 times. They live almost 1,000 miles from me. It was almost a decade since the last time I saw either one of them. Next time I see them, someone is getting fucked. My step-siblings are 20 years older than me and I'm very grossed out now. You have made me think about it. Some family friends of ours were step-siblings as teens. They actually started dating in their late 20s. They're both really great and we're all glad to see them together, honestly. I went to their wedding. Top-tier party. Amusingly enough, a few years after they got married, their parents in their 60s divorced, so they're not really step-siblings at all anymore. Well, once I was stuck and I had to ask my stepbro to help me and he wouldn't because he watched too much porn. I always assumed that this bizarre trend started solely because actual incest might be illegal in several countries, so porn producers had to find an excuse to don't lose the audience that's into that. I am straight male and have a 20-year younger straight stepbrother. So, there is nothing. I also have a stepmom. But, no, just no, seriously, even without being related by blood, she is my mum, and I'm interested in her as much as in my real mum. Which is not at all. To clarify that for all the perverts. My stepsister 11 is much younger than me, 17, and so when she approached me one time and said, "What are you doing, stepbro?" you can imagine my shock and how shook I felt. She said it as a joke, but now knowing what she watches will not leave my mind. Not sibling but parent. My stepdad tried to come onto me. I ran away a year ago and never looked back at it. Thanks for all the kind words. If you're curious about my story and don't want to fish through replies, see my post to narcissistic parents. I worked closely with HR in a call center. You'd get some crazy stuff. Guy that carried a cooler every day was wiping shit on random walls and desks. It was his shit in his cooler. We thought it was his lunch. He got caught when he wiped it on the front desk directly in sight of the camera. Another guy had a colostomy bag that he refused to empty when it got full. You would find these trails of liquid poo randomly and we had to throw out 4 chairs that he ruined. He was fired quickly and tried to claim discrimination because he was a veteran. You'd also get a crazy amount of period stains on chairs. Look, it happens, but when it's the same few people and we have free sanitary supplies in the bathroom, you know they just don't care. I don't bang my stepsisters, so can't say it's had any effect in my life. Every time my stepsister gives me a blowjob now it's all awkward. Thanks Pornhub. Slightly related, my wife is a twin, but no matter how much twin porn I watch, I just cannot get into her brother at all. I'm a woman and all my step-siblings are older men. In high school I had at least 2 classmates that I remember asked me if I ever fooled around with him or thought of them as more than brothers. Freaked me the hell out because I didn't know that this was even a fetish. I haven't had someone ask since then because I guess most adults know better. My opinion on the porn itself is meh. It's not my thing, but I don't judge. Just don't try to bring me into that nonsense. Do people actually give a shit about the titles of porn in the age of Pornhub? I think the stepbrother-sister thing is so popular only because they use hot porn stars. I also don't ever watch any of the story shit. Skip to the PR0N. Worked for a large trucking company. Every employee would get a present on their birthday in the mail and their names on the video board. This week's birthdays are, a guy called to ask if his name could not be on the board. Reason: his twin brother murdered his parents and he did not want to be reminded of his birthday. My stepbrother told me it wouldn't be gross if we had sex. Because if it feels good, it feels good. I got pissed, told him he was being disgusting, and asked him to stay away from me. And later I had to explain to my parents why I wanted him to stay away from me. So, that was fun. Edit: I just want to clarify. To me this was an awkward thing that happened some time ago. That could have been affected by normalization of step-sibling porn, and not a traumatizing experience that's haunting me. The only reason I thought about it now is because I read the question of this thread. He was young and drunk when it happened. It was awkward for a while, but he respected my boundaries and we have a platonic sibling relationship and friendship now that I wouldn't want to be without. The girl I lost my virginity to was someone I met because her stepbrother was my best friend at the time. About 6 months into our relationship, I'm pretty sure they ended up sleeping together. I lived it. My stepbrother's step-cousin did some gay stuff to me when I was young. It's not awesome, and gay stepbrother-cousin porn is not on in my search history. My best friend was sleeping with his stepsister for 2 years. The parents found out and the sister had to go live with her mum. I still ask him how his sister is doing just to get a reaction. ID never thought about it and wish you HADNT just made me. Thanks. It's gross, but it has not affected my life. Not the step-sibling in this story. I was 6 and my sister was 9. My older stepbrother was 18. Parents had no idea I do think so. At least I once had an older brother who came in from my step-father's side of the family. After about 3 months together he started acting weird. He would be the coolest brother when others were around, but when it was just me and my sis things got bad. He would often stare at my sister, and one time he tricked her into getting a chance of me getting on his lap, but I was too smart for that. He physically assaulted me many times and I had learned to adapt very quickly. This DIDNT really hit me at the time. But me and my sister liked anime, so maybe he saw lolis and thought he could use us. I will never understand this fetish with children. I was sexually abused by my stepbrother, so it's always been a huge turn-off when I see it. A bit different than the question you asked and a little off-topic, but my sister's dad married a woman and then his mommy's sister's grandma married the woman's dad while they were still married. So I get a kick out of telling people my sister's dad was at one point married to his stepsister and seeing their reactions of them saying that's weird as hell, and then I explain it to them what happened and they laugh. Did HASNT affected my relationship with my stepsister at all? But often when I mention her in passing to people who know I'm a lesbian, I always brace myself for a comment. Could be much worse, but it's annoying. Technically, there is nothing wrong with it. It may seem strange if you grew up together from a young age, but they are biologically unrelated. It would be like dating the next-door neighbor you've known since you were 1 year old. How has it affected my life? Well, I still can't find where the water is, so there's that. This thread is cursed. Makes me nostalgic for when I had a stepsister. Fun times. Hoo boy, this is a whole can of worms I refuse to touch. My step-siblings seemed to really enjoy that sort of shit when I was younger. I had 2 older stepbrothers for a while from my dad's side. I visited my father once for a 3-week vacation. It was all relatively fine until one night when I was watching TV at midnight with one of them, and he mentioned how he was slightly disappointed that I wasn't a sexy curvy woman because he was looking forward to having a stepsister, especially since he heard I was chubby. He had moved really close to me on the couch and tried to touch my hair. I tried to scooch away and he grabbed my arm. I kicked him and ran upstairs. I locked myself in my room and made preparations to go home. I slept for a few hours, got up with the sun, and was driving down the highway by the time my father was awake and calling to see where I went. After that, I refused to go on any family outings with him or even do New Year's dinner with them. Me and my stepsister go to the same school. We are constantly asked to fuck in the hallways. One time a kid pushed her when she wouldn't do what he said, asked me to kiss her, and I finally snapped on him. I read about 20 comments before realizing that I have step-siblings. My mum got remarried recently when I was in my 30s and I had never thought about it. I guess step-sibling porn just got even better. My step-sisters aren't hot in my opinion, so it's whatever. I do hate them though. Makes logging our session that much better. I hate it. She turns to me and says, "What are you doing, stepbro?" Causing me to pull out every time. Waiting for my stepsis to call me anytime. I mean, our parents aren't together anymore, Sue. Not entirely an answer, but finally a place I can tell this fucking story. I have an older stepbrother who moved in with my dad when I was 4, he was 6. I've never lived with dad. His mum unironically said once that him and I could date, be a cute couple. Because I'm a straight-laced girl and HES a bit of a troublemaker and arrogant. I've grown up with him carrying the title of brother, and he is no less of a brother to me than the other child my dad helped create. So I nearly puked. I told him. We died laughing about it. That's all. This whole step-sibling porn seems a bit too close to dipping a toe into full-blown incest coming. Next, if you show me a hot girl and a hung dude about to do it, hey, I'm in. As soon as you say and their step-siblings, I'm fucking out.
Hope you liked this video. Stay frosty, my rebels.